Hey, everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. I've got a local national success with Damon Fowler. He's a great blues artist. He's come out with his 8th record. He's down here. I'm in Tampa. He's just a little further south of me. Extremely well known in the Tampa Bay region, but he plays nationally and internationally all over the world. Quick shout out to Patty DeVries, our good friend Patty. Thanks a lot. Patty's a wonderful PR person. Also, make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com/subscribe to subscribe to the show. If you're already watching us on YouTube, hit that little subscribe button and the emoji that looks like a bell. That allows us to get recommended by YouTube. And thanks for your support for doing that. Give you a quick bio on Damon. He's originally from Brandon, Florida, which again is a little further south of Tampa. He's an electric blues and blues rock singer, guitarist, and songwriter. He grew up playing all the clubs here in the Tampa Bay and Southwest Florida area, becoming a regional powerhouse, then a national act. And again, now, as I said, he tours internationally. And he accomplished some of this by opening for people like Buddy Guy, which I'm 100% sure I saw him open for Buddy Guy, Jeff Beck, and others. In 2011, Damon teamed up with Victor Wainwright, JP Soars, who we had on the show. Hey, JP. Chuck Riley and Chris Peet to form Southern Hospitality. And I think they're gigging again, actually. Their first gig was supporting Buddy Guy, and their debut album called Easy Livin' peaked at #9 on the U.S. Billboard Top Blues Album chart back when people bought albums in 2011. Damon's got a new record out, as I mentioned. It's his 8th record called Alafia Moon, which is co-produced by himself and George Harris, who also produces Cheap Trick, Rick Derringer, and Brian Johnson from AC/DC. Over the years, Damon's worked with Delbert McClinton, who we had here on the show, Chris Duarte, Buddy Guy, Johnny Winter, Edgar Winter, Jeff Beck, Robin Trower, Greg Allman, Junior Brown, Rick Derringer, Little Feat, Jimmy Vaughn, as I mentioned, Victor Wainwright, Butch Trucks and the Freight Train Band, and Dickie Betts and with Damon on slide, and the Radiators. Man, I saw the Radiators at the Ritz in Manhattan like 100 years ago. It was one of the best shows I've ever seen, man. They were,
man, these guys are great, man.
Great.
A lot of those guys you mentioned, we just opened for them or toured with them,
Sure.
And when I was probably like, when I first started playing lap steel, it's when I met the Radiators, man. And Dave Malone invited me up to come play guitar with him, and I played
so
lap
cool.
steel. It's really great.
Really good band. Hey, so thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate your time. I've seen Damon live. He puts on a great show. He's got a really cool, which we'll talk about, gold top double P90 Telecaster. I've never seen anybody with a guitar like that. He's got great tone. So let's dig in. Man, how did you first get started in the music business, and what was your first break?
Well, my first big break is, I don't know. I started playing when I was 10, and I lived at my grandparents' house, and they owned a septic tank business. And on Sundays, they would have parties, and they had like a little pool area and a dock or a deck, not a dock, but a deck, and like a little stage built on it. And so my uncle would come and play with them, and his friends would come over and jam. So at 10 years old, I would see this, and I got a little guitar, and I would go jam with them. My uncle would show me some chords in the morning, stuff like that. And so that's how I started playing music. And he was in a country band that played all around Tampa and Gibsonton, Rusk, and all that stuff called.
Right.
It was a guy named Possum Bennett.
Possum Bennett. That's as country as you can get.
And the Southern Express Band.
What made you start playing? Did you have like him?
Well, my grandma was there one day. They had a really good year with their business, and so she was going to buy all my uncle's Gibson guitars.
Wow.
As a thing, because they all at one point had worked for them during their business. And so there was a store called Thoroughbred Music.
Yeah, of course, over on
in Hillsborough,
near Armenia. Yeah.
And so she was in there picking out nice Gibson guitars for them, and my mom. And so I was there with them, bothering them. And so I got like a little Ibanez acoustic. She's
cool.
like, here, take this Ibanez acoustic, go sit in the corner and leave me alone, kid. And so I really took to it. I was an only child.
Okay.
And it was one of these things to where I have asthma, and I really wasn't that athletic,
Right.
So I ended up at 10 years old just picking up guitar. My uncle was in that country band, so he would show me little songs and ditties and stuff, you know.
That's a cool story about your grandma buying everybody guitars.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
really
she was
cool.
a really nice lady. She was a good lady.
That's a very difficult business, man. A septic tank. For anybody who doesn't know what that is, look it up. It's
well, I knew at a very young age I didn't want to do that. They were, you know, times were different then.
Yeah, of course.
You know, times were way different then. But yeah, I remember being like 10 and 12 years old, being like, no way, dude.
Yeah.
No.
Hey,
way.
Damon, give us a hand. No. I know, man.
Play guitar, yeah.
Right on. So then how did you start like professionally getting out there? And what were some of your challenges in the beginning?
Well, when I was 14, I started my first band. We were called, for 3 gigs, we were called Tangent. And then we changed the name to Fake Native.
Mm-hmm.
And all through high school, I was in Fake Native. And I had this Friday night gig in Tampa at a place called Casey's Cove.
Where was that?
My uncle, yeah, it was on Fowler Avenue it was in a strip mall across the street from University Mall.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And so my uncle was kind of like the band manager, band dad. And because my cousin was in the band, my cousin played drums, still does, great drummer, Aaron
Cool.
Fowler. And so we were trying to get a gig at Skipper's Smokehouse.
Right.
And so my uncle had this video of us. He'd take it to Skipper's, and the guy that ran Skipper's, Tom, was like, you know, if you guys go up to this club, do well, it's kind of like the sister club, then you can come play Skipper's. He booked them. And so it was in Bellevue, Ocala, or like Bellevue, Florida, like kind of by Ocala.
Right.
It's called Mr. Pub. And I would go up there, and it was a biker gig. There was like real bikers, and it was
that's
like
a haul from Brandon as well. It's not like 5 minutes away. It's a bit of
it's like about
an hour.
Hour 15. And so we would go up there and play, and we finally made friends, you know, with the club and the bikers, and everybody liked us up there. You know, it took us a few trips, but next thing you know, they're requesting we come up there. And that was the same year that Rick Derringer, they'd booked Rick Derringer
up in Ocala.
In Ocala, in Mr. Pub. And it was an outside gig, and Rick, they wanted him to do 2 sets, but to give him a break from the heat, they're like, why don't we get these kids to go in between, you know, have them start, they would most bang for the buck, you know, we'll get the kids to play, Rick, and the kids, and then Rick.
Right.
And so that's what we did. And Rick asked me to come out and play his encore with him.
That's cool.
And that's how I met Rick Derringer. And I would say that was kind of like, you know, my big break or whatever, you know what I mean? It was, meeting Rick, you know, and see, dude, Rick is a lot. He used to live in Bradenton. I think he lives out by Daytona now or somewhere.
I think he's down in Sarasota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic guitar player.
Oh yeah.
Still today, you know, I mean, you see him play, and he's incredible. So that was it, you know. So I was going back to my Friday night gig at Casey's Cove. I was graduating high school, and I was like, man, I'm going to make a CD so I could sell it at Casey's Cove. And I found, and this was right when the internet's, not everyone had internet in their house at this point, you know?
Right.
And so I talked to Rick, and he ended up producing my first record.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so at 18, I started building a fan base, and you know, Rick really helped me in that time, you know.
That's so cool, man. What were the biggest, so after you get that CD, what were the next level of challenges? Because now you're legit.
The next thing that happened, I don't know if it was a challenge or not, but you know, we were booking gigs and stuff, but I ended up getting a gig opening for Jeff Beck, because Johnny Lang was opening for Jeff Beck. They were doing this tour through the Southeast, and Johnny Lang got conjunctivitis, like
Oh
pain.
my God.
And I had tickets to the show. I was already going to the show.
Where was the show? That wasn't at the Sun Dome?
It was at the Ice Palace.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And so by this point, Tom at Skipper's was kind of helping book me.
Okay.
And so he called me that day and was like, "Hey man, what are you doing tonight?" You know? And I'm like, "Man, I'm going to see Johnny Lang and Jeff Beck." And he's like, "Well, Johnny Lang is sick. They need an opener," you know? And I was like, "No way." So we got to open for Jeff Beck. When the radio guy walks out on stage, you know, we drive our van in, load all our stuff up on stage really quick, get out, place fills up, we sound checked. So, and then like, I mean, all this happens within an hour. And then, so we're ready to play, you know, we're standing at the edge of this, you know, edge of the stage trying about to go on. The radio guy walks out and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Lang can't make it tonight. He's sick." So people just start booing. And then we're like, "Oh no. Oh, whoa, look at all these people." And they're booing. "Oh no, oh my God." And so that's when they came out. And they're like, we played and they warmed up a little bit. Then we played some more. They kept warming up till we played, I think, like 45 minutes or something. And we ended up getting a standing O.
That's so cool.
So I would have to say that was the gig that changed my life. Because I went from playing, you know, in the Bay Area,
200 people bars to like what? How many people were at that show? 8,000, 6,000?
There's about, I think there's like 6,000 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, till this day, I still run into people that are like, "Hey man, I was at that Jeff Beck show," you know?
That's really
and
cool.
It really kind of propelled me forward, you know?
Yeah. Did you get to interact with Jeff at all?
I did. Yeah. After the show, he hung out with us and gave me a slide and was really cool, man. Jeff Beck was great.
That's so cool.
Jennifer Batten was playing guitar.
Oh, I had Jen on the show. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
It was, you know, it was a rock star moment, man. Like we just, you know, the first time we got to like see behind the curtain and stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
that's so cool. I remember asking her because she was with him for like 3 years, and she's a, you know, brilliant guitarist herself. And I said, you watched Jeff for 3 years. Are you any closer to figuring out how he does what he does? She goes, "Craig, I studied him every night. I have no clue."
Yeah. He's really interesting player, man.
Oh.
And when you watch him play and you listen to his records, man, he's really super interesting.
And he's so unique.
Comes at from a different point.
Yeah. That's so cool, man. What a great story that is. He went from playing Skippers to playing the Ice Palace. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, and then after that, we could actually bring people to Skippers, you know?
Yeah, right. I bet. You've always been a band leader. What prompted you to like be a leader, which is a lot more difficult than being a sideman, for example?
You know, I was kind of just, that's what was presented to me. When I was a kid and we were starting our band, my cousin played drums. We had this other kid that played bass, and we're like, "Well, who's going to sing?" And they were like, "Well, you do it." You know, it's kind of one of those things. So I just started doing it then, and I just kind of moved on, you know?
Yeah. I give you a lot of credit because it's a tough thing to do. You're not coming out of a huge musical city. I mean, Tampa's got some stuff. Even back in the day, they were known for like death metal, not for, you know, and Skippers is a great venue, but it's a local venue for the most part, you know, has great artists there. So I give you a lot of credit, and you've managed to really do a good job playing not nationally, but internationally, which is, you know, to your credit. Not a lot of people could have pushed that through, man. So whatever you've done is,
you know, it's not something that happened overnight, man. It's been a long time, you know. It was really slow progress. And, you know, I kind of think that's how it's supposed to be.
Well, let me ask you this, because earlier before we came on the air, you were saying about I'd listen to the universe and just kind of let things happen naturally. How do you think doing that has helped you?
It has a lot. It's helped, like trying to trust your intentions and the universe and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And manifestation. And it's the more I can trust myself in the universe, the better things get. It's just hard to let go, you know.
Yeah.
It's really, but the more I try and the more I get comfortable with it, it is real, you know.
Well, you're not a pushy guy at all. I know that. So like, it would probably be more unnatural for you to suddenly say, no, I'm going to take the reins. And not that you don't take the reins, you know what I mean? Though it would be,
no, it's something with your band and stuff, like, and that's why I'm happy to have a manager and an agent, right? Because that's where you got to be pushy and do all that stuff.
sure.
But inside of a musical experience, man, I mean, most musicians and stuff are really chill, you know.
Very.
It's just you got to use communication skills and stuff, but not like be aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, just know how to talk to people and just kind of know, you know, and find people with the same perspective as you. You know what I mean? That's another thing. It's really important to find people that, you know, not everyone gets along the same way.
Sure,
you know?
sure. And you're really good also with the audience in the shows, you know, on the records I've heard, but I've been in the audience, you know, you're good with your audience as far as like, it never feels like you're playing down to someone. It almost feels like we're all just hanging out, like at your grandma's house or something, you know?
Yeah. That's the best time. That's the best fun, you know?
Yeah.
It's what it is. That's what my favorite artists do when I go see somebody play, you know. That's what I always wanted to do.
Well, you do it, man. You do a good job of it. I'm going to just mention some of the guys that you've opened with, and if you could talk about how you wound up connecting with them, and if there's any kind of cool or interesting story about opening for them or working with them or interacting with them. Let's start with Buddy Guy.
Man, Buddy Guy, I was pretty young. I've got to jam with him. I've opened for Buddy probably 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I opened for him was at the House of Blues in Orlando, and that was right after the Jeff Beck gig. The Jeff Beck gig kind of propelled us. Then the people in Orlando were like, "Well, if you open for Jeff Beck, let's go to open for Johnny Lang."
Yeah,
or for
Buddy Guy. Yeah.
So that's kind of how that worked. And then, you know, a couple of the guys in Buddy's band, I'm friends with Rick Hall, his guitar player, is a great guitar player, man. He's a good friend of mine. And Marty Salmon, the piano player, is really cool, you know.
So you became, you know, Buddy used to play Skippers like years ago, and he hasn't done it in ages. Yeah. Ages, man.
Yep.
Johnny Winter.
Johnny Winter is one of my favorite guitar players.
Me too.
When I was probably 12, my uncle gave me a record called Nothing But the Blues, and it's got Muddy Waters Band on there and all that stuff. And I was lucky. I was fortunate enough to get to tour with Johnny. I did probably 20 dates with him.
Wow.
And got to play in New Orleans with him one time and go to the after party and stuff, man. It was really amazing.
Was that before or after he got sober?
He was sober. He wasn't, I mean, he wasn't sober, but he wasn't taking heroin or methadone. He was basically, his manager weaned him off of methadone.
Yeah.
Right. And that was the issue. I think Johnny Winter smoked pot forever. You know?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But, you know, he wasn't partying or anything. He was an old guy. He was hitting around telling stories and stuff, you know.
That's nice, man. That's cool. Did you get to play with him at all anytime?
Never got to jam with him. I've jammed with his band a few times at sound checks and stuff, but he'd seen me play a few times and stuff, you know, because, man, you know, they kept him on the RV or backstage, you know, and he needed help. You know, he wasn't in great shape, you know. Sometimes he'd be in a wheelchair or something, or you know, he was a fragile older man, you know.
Yeah, he was.
So, but Johnny was great though.
I remember seeing him either at Ruth Eckerd or Capitol Theater. It's like near the end, and he was in a chair. It was just, you know, upsetting to see him in that state, you know. Yeah, I agree. One of my heroes, man, Robin Trower.
Man, I've never got to play with Robin Trower, but we've opened for him 8 times or 10 times or something now. And dude, that guy, his tone is awesome live. It's amazing. I don't know. I look at the knobs and I try it on my amps, and I'm like, there's something there. He's great.
He's loud too. He's loud as shit, man. He's so loud. Yeah. We saw him at Janice, my son and I, a couple of times. And it was just amazing how loud he was. I couldn't believe it, man.
We opened for him at Janice, and he was using, I think he was using 250-watt Marshalls and then like a couple of Blues DeVilles.
Right.
And you go and you look at the settings on the amps, and all the tone settings, treble, middle, and bass, were set pretty low.
Really?
And the volume was set really high.
Right. I mean, he's loud. I mean, he was loud as hell. Every time I've seen him, it's just incredibly loud.
It was kind of interesting, you know. And then I've got a Marshall clone, and I tried it with it, and I was like, that doesn't sound the same. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's hard to get Robin Trower's tone.
There's something he knows that there's a secret to it. You know?
You know what was weird? The last time I saw him, he was singing.
Yeah.
I've never, I mean, that was a first, and he had another person, maybe one of his bandmates, sing a couple of tunes, but he sang it. That was, he's like 75 when he started singing.
He's singing, and also his bass player, the last time I saw him, his bass player sounded more like James Dewar.
Oh, that guy was great. Yeah.
The singer from, you know, Bridge of Sighs and Twice Removed from Yesterday, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sounded exactly like him, man. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
He was one of the best singers in rock in general. He had a hell of a voice.
I agree. I think he's a very underrated singer.
Totally, man. Yeah. And then you play with Dickie Betts. How did that come about, and what was that experience like?
The experience was fantastic. I was actually in Dickie's band.
Yeah.
And basically I don't know if it's how I got the gig, but I played with Butch Trucks before that. Butch Trucks in the Freight Train band. Butch was the original drummer from the Allman Brothers.
Sure.
And Barry Dwayne Oakley, Barry Oakley's son, he's the son of the bass player of the original Allman Brothers. It was a friend of mine. I was living in Anna Maria, and my wife and my wife was pregnant with our first child.
Mm-hmm.
And Barry and I had known each other a little bit before that, but we became friends. His wife was pregnant at the same time, kind of thing.
Okay.
And we just, you know, became friends, and we started this band called Baby Daddy. and we would just play at weird little beach bars down
Anna Maria.
and our drummer just had a kid, right? So we were like, man, we got these, you know, just
Baby
little
daddy.
side gigs, man, kind of get out of the house but make a little extra money kind of thing. And man, his wife, her water actually broke at one of our gigs.
Oh my God.
Like, I was playing, had my eyes closed, open my eyes, and Barry's gone. And I'm like, what happened? They're like, Diana Catherine's water broke, you know. And we're like,
wow. Holy smokes.
But that was great. So anyway, Barry was playing in the Butch Trucks and the Freight Train band. They were putting that band together, and they were looking for a guitar player. And Barry mentioned my name, and so their manager called me and said, hey, look, come to the gig and come to sound check. If you can cut it, you got the gig.
That's great.
Yeah, so I toured with Butch for almost 2 years.
Wow,
and
that must have been great.
It was fantastic. Bruce Katz was in the band. Vaylor Trucks. Man, I don't know if you know Vaylor, but he's wild, fantastic guitar player. Heather Gillis was in the band, but Bruce Katz, the keyboard player, is amazing. And Butch, you know, so I toured with those guys for a while, and then Butch eventually passed away.
Yeah.
And so I started working on material for my next record, and out of the blue, man, basically, you know, and I you know, living on the west coast of Florida, playing around, you know, all the way from Fort Myers or even down Pine Island, you know, all the way up to, you know, through the Panhandle and stuff. I've met Dickie a couple of times.
Sure.
And I know all the guys in his band. You know, I've played gigs with a bunch of those guys and stuff. And I know his son Dwayne.
I had Dwayne on the show a while back. It's so funny, man. It's like talking to me, like Dickie 20 years ago. They're so.
It really is, man. It really is. So Dwayne, I was standing in line to pick my son up from school, man, and Dwayne called me and was just like, "Hey, man, you know, my dad wants to know if you want to do this summer tour with us, you know." And I was like, "Well, yeah." I actually was like, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah, right.
You know? And then he's like, all right, cool. Well, we'll call you later. We'll work it out. You know, I was like, all right.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so it was like going to the Super Bowl every day or something, man. It was, you know, we're on a tour bus, and you know, we played in Macon, Georgia, at this Coliseum. Man, it was like sold out. It was hot in there because it was so sold out. It was like tons of people, man. We played the Beacon. We played Peach
man,
Fest.
that's such a. I've been to the Beacon. The sound quality there is,
dude,
it's awesome,
we played,
man.
The St. George Theater in Staten Island.
That's cool.
You know, it was really fantastic. It was like a fantasy or something, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and sitting over there and, you know, just riding on a bus with Dickie and Dwayne and the band and stuff. You know, it was really amazing.
But nobody does what Dickie does. The way he plays is so unique, and it's just like so smooth, man. He's
an innovator.
Yeah, he really is. Really talented guy. That's awesome, man. Very cool. Any other gigs or encounters with people that were cool and nostalgic that you want to talk about?
Oh man, there's so many, man. You know, BB King was always cool.
You opened for BB?
I did. I opened for BB a couple of times. You know, George Thorogood, I've opened for George a ton.
Yeah.
And George has become like a friend of mine, and his band, you know, Jim Suler, he's a great guitar player. I don't know if you know Jim or not.
I know his name. Yeah. You know what?
Jim's
people have said to me, can you get Jim on your show? That's how I know his name. Suhler, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Jim Suler and Monkey Beat, man. He lives out in Dallas, and Jim's awesome, dude. So yeah, I mean, you know, all those guys have been really great to us, you know, and I think that's what it takes. You know, you just kind of have to make friends with all these people, and it kind of leads you to another direction, you know?
Yeah. Were you drawn to the blues right away when you first started playing?
I was, man. The song that turned me on about the blues, you know, I would go sit in with my uncle's country band, and this was Florida in the early mid 90s. Okay. So country was like George Jones, but also Leonard Skinner.
Right.
And so I would go, and they wouldn't take us to the bar to sit in with them, but like on Sundays or Wednesdays, there'd be picnics, or there'd be like a function to where it's like families are invited to these things, you know? So me and my cousin would go sit in, and we'd play stuff like Hey Good Looking.
Right.
You know, stuff like that. And but then also we would play Steamroller Blues by James Taylor.
Okay.
And I loved it. I love that song. You know, the tongue-in-cheek innuendos of it are really good.
And also, I got to go back and listen to that, man.
And the progression, and just the 12-bar blues progression. Like as a kid, I was like, wow, I understand how I can hear it. I hear how it works, you know. I hear it turn around and where it starts and stops and all this stuff, you know. And so from there, somebody gave me a cassette tape, and it had John Lee Hooker and Pine Top Perkins on one. I had like a BB King, and then finally got a CD player for Christmas, you know. And I got this is like 94 or 95 or something, you know. And I got like this BB King box set, you know, and that was really awesome. That really turned me on to the blues.
That's very cool, man. Let me ask you this. A lot of time, you don't have to answer this if you don't want, Damon. A lot of times blues artists are attracted to the blues because it's a very healing music, you know? And is there anything that you think is there anything in you that you found that blues helped you heal or work through or something like that?
You know, I think music is a healer. You know, I definitely think there's a lot of emotional content in blues.
Yeah.
But the same could be said about jazz or early country music. You know, a lot of the early blues and the early country music is very similar, you know, with their progressions and even what the songs are about, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah, I mean, there's definitely an emotional content there.
Yeah. So a couple of your records are named after local places here. Do you have specifically Riverview and Alafia River? Is there any like special connection to those places or?
Well, Riverview Drive, actually my uncle that was a song he wrote.
Okay.
And then I helped write Pocket Full of Blues and some stuff on that album, you know. And I grew up in Palm River, which is off 41 between Brandon and Tampa. It's right there before you go down to like Ruskin and Gibsonton and all that stuff.
Okay.
South of State Road 60. And the Alafia Moon album, you know, basically I wrote that really growing up around the Palm River and the Alafia River and stuff. When I was a kid, those were good times to me, you know, and I remember just being able to go out on the boat or go fishing down the Alafia and just kind of lose yourself, you know, and forget about everything kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was going for with that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the new record, Alafia Moon. It's your 8th solo record, long record, 11 songs, 52 minutes. Was there anything in particular going on in your life when you were making that record that came out on there, or things you wanted to express that actually came out?
Yeah, I think all of it. Man, I want to say I got signed off doing my recordings. I recorded 3 of those songs on my Tascam cassette recorder, 424, old school 4-track recorder, and my manager shopped that.
And
I recorded it digital file, and my manager shopped that, and that's how we got signed.
Really. And what label are you with now?
I'm with Landslide Records.
Where are they out of?
They were out of Atlanta. Now I think they're out of Fernandina Beach.
Okay.
This guy named Michael Rothschild, man, he's been great.
That's cool. Very cool. So I want to just talk about a couple of songs that I really liked. First one is Some Things Change, and great slide playing in there as always. And also you had this really good fuzzy tone, which like I think you usually have. Your tone is great. Now I get to ask you, what are you doing to make that tone, and what are you playing through?
On that one, I think we use the Brown Face Deluxe.
Right.
And I'm playing a Harmony H44.
Right. That's a hollow body, right?
No, it's a solid body.
It's a solid body. Okay.
It's a solid body. It's got like the toaster style pickup in it.
Okay.
And I don't really use pedals or anything that much, man. So I just, you know, those Brown Face Deluxes are fuzzy and they got a little bit of fur on the note, you know?
Yeah.
And so we crank that up in a hallway, and that's what I use for that tone. Pure
amp. That's it.
Just straight amp. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds it sounds so good, man. So good.
I will say, man, working with George Harris over there, he's got a lot of great amps. But one of his secret weapons is a guy named Mike Van Sievers. Mike Van Sievers comes over and he makes these cables, and he makes these things that really kind of dial in the sound.
So what do you mean? Like, what do you mean he makes cables?
Well, he's got these. I'm not great with the lingo. He makes these cables that are better wire, and they direct the tone differently. You can hear it, like you. And I'm not superstitious about that stuff, but there really is a difference.
Does he sell those in retail or just custom?
No, you just got to find him. He lives out in Sulphur Springs, I think. And he's got a couple of these things. They look like it's like he makes them out of a casserole dish or something, man. But
that's Van Sievers, Sievers.
Yeah, Mike Van Sievers.
I'll have to check that out. That's interesting, man. Yeah, because everybody has their different opinions, but like, how can a cable deliver better tone?
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it really does.
Okay, I'm gonna look into this.
He uses a bunch of those Van Sievers contraptions out there.
Okay,
and man, they sound great.
And then Taxman, really cool, slow blues and G. You did a great job on there, double tracking the guitars with the slide on one side, and you had again the distorted electric on the other side. Was that the same combination, the harmony through the brown face deluxe, or what was that?
Probably the harmony was probably through the deluxe. I think the telly there was a couple of tweed amps. There was a champ I think we were playing through, and then there was a Silver Face Deluxe.
Okay. but no effects again, just the amps.
No, just amps,
pushing the amps.
Push the amp up.
Now I had a question, any particular backstory to the track, but now I know because we spoke beforehand about the Taxman.
Story, man. So dear to my heart.
I don't mean to be laughing, but I'm like, I can't believe what you went through, man. What's your favorite track on the record?
You know,
if you have one.
Leave It Alone.
Leave It Alone. Cool.
That's
cool.
The first one, man. I like the bass on it too. You know, it's got upright bass and
was that you playing? Was that you playing?
No, that's Chuck Riley. He plays bass in my trio, and he played all the bass on the album.
That's good, man. Low points. What were some low points or dark periods you've had to deal with in life, and how'd you get through them?
Well, losing my mom was probably the worst.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Really,
I don't know. There's always low points and high points to everything, you know. Losing my mom was the lowest, you know. Having family has been really good for me. You know,
being married, having kids. Yeah.
Being married, my wife is a blessing to me, man. She's really great, and my kids are lovely. They're you know, little sunspots in my life, man. They're awesome. You know, it really kind of, you know, I put out some records and I toured and was touring a lot. And then, you know, after the Dickey tours and stuff, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, you know, and I was like, well, you know, I started playing more in Florida again, and I started playing a lot of acoustic, which led me to go and open for George acoustic a bunch, you know. But I was like, man, you know, what am I going to do? I got to figure some stuff out, you know. And I really kind of delved more into being home and being with my family and stuff. And, I think it really led to a more grounded place to make a record this time, you know. So I'm really happy with this record, and I think it has to do with the fact that I was just home and happier.
Good for you, man. Did you record this down south?
Yeah, this was recorded in Largo at Creative World Studios.
Awesome. Great sound on the record. I mean, it was well engineered, man. It sounds really
That's
cool.
all George Harris, man.
Yeah,
George is awesome.
I meant to ask you, I've never been to Anna Maria. Is that a cool place to go, like for overnight with my wife or something?
Well, right now, no, because it's packed.
Because of what? Just because it just opened again?
It's just open and it's super packed. But man, yeah, Anna Maria is awesome, man. I love it. I lived there for about 4 years. We lived on Bradenton Beach.
Oh, okay.
Before I got signed to Blind Pig, and who's now my wife, she was my girlfriend then. Man, I found this 600 square foot apartment on Bradenton Beach, man. So we moved down there and lived there, and eventually got my landlord's house. So it was like a little 1,000 square foot house, you know.
Right.
And I was touring, and it was great. But then, you know, we got engaged, and then she became pregnant, and we had our son. We were married, and like living on Anna Maria really wasn't great.
Yeah.
You know, to raise a small child, you know.
Yeah. You want to be around other kids. You want
You know, and when her family lives in Lakeland, so we ended up moving to Lakeland.
Oh, cool.
And you know, her mom and stepdad and dad and her grandma and cousins, all these people live out there, you know.
That's great.
Yeah,
because my anniversary's coming up, and I was going to book something. We usually go like to Sarasota. Go
to Anna Maria, man. Anna Maria is super nice.
Yeah.
Anna Maria or Siesta Key.
Yeah, that's what it was. Either because I was like, hey, we've never been to Siesta Key or Anna Maria. I was thinking of doing that, but it's really crowded now.
That's what I heard. Yeah. I heard that there's more people in Anna Maria now than it's ever been. Wow.
Well, it's funny, man. New Year's Eve, we went down. We stayed in Sarasota, and it was packed there. It was New Year's Eve, and I think, and I got, and the next day, which New Year's Day, there's usually no traffic. There was so much traffic driving back up to Tampa. I couldn't believe it. I think it was everybody was like, hey, we're sick of being trapped inside, man.
I believe that, you know, I think that, and, you know, I agree.
Yeah. No, I totally, it was packed, and, you know, yeah. Tell me one or two things that you did that at the time were out of your comfort zone, but hindsight being 2020, they turned into positive breakthroughs for you.
Oh man. learning how to pay bills through PayPal and Venmo.
Yeah. That's a good thing to do.
Well, and after having tax troubles and stuff, it's been really good for me it helps me keep a digital trail of everything, all my expenses. And
Bingo.
my wife's helped me, organize that stuff. So that was one thing. And because I'm just technology, man, I'm just not great with computers, man. I don't know, something about it, but
No,
I try.
No, man, you're great with a guitar. So that's
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, let's talk about gear for a couple of minutes. What is your go-to? I know the answer, but I want to ask for everybody. What's your go-to guitar right now? And what other two guitars round out your top three?
Well, it depends on what I'm using them for. If I'm playing acoustic, I have an Everly Brothers that I play. And it was one of the guitars that my grandma bought one of my uncles.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And it's a great guitar and sounds great. And so that's what I normally play my acoustic stuff with. With my electric, of course, I've got the Telecaster. I got to give a shout out to my friend Steve White.
Okay.
Steve White's the one that built the guitar. He's a guy that's good at putting paint jobs and doing fabrication work. And he's really smart dude, So we were talking about it. And originally for my wedding, he gave this to me as a wedding present. It was seafoam green. All right. I had a Telecaster with F holes. It's seafoam green. It's got the same P90s in it. And it's got like this hologram neck plate with me and my wife and the date. Right. And there's all sorts of little special wedding things all over it, And so he gave me the guitar.
Is he a luthier or just a guy who like Mr. Fix-It can do anything?
He can do anything. Like that.
It's like, is he a buddy of yours down south there?
He is. He lives in St. Pete.
Okay.
And so he gave me this guitar and I took it out on a tour and was like, wow, man, this thing sounds great. I love it. But I feel really terrible just, this being my wedding present and pictures of my wife. And there's all these special dates all over and stuff. So, and I was like, let's make another one. And so we made the gold top. And so he painted it like a Les Paul gold top.
Yeah.
And it controls like a Les Paul because it's got the switch like up on the horn up here,
Yeah.
And
do you have the guitar there? I'd love people to see this.
I don't. It's actually it's far away. I'm sorry.
Listen, everybody needs to go look at this. Just look up Damon Fowler online. It is such a cool looking guitar. How the hell did you decide to put two P9? I've never seen anybody with a Tele with two P90s.
Basically, I was just like, man, let's make it like a 50s Les Paul.
Okay.
But a Telecaster so I can fly with it.
Yeah.
I get nervous about flying with a Les Paul, man,
Yeah.
This guitar, man, it's taken some abuse,
Yeah.
Telecaster, man, they don't break.
What kind of neck is that? Because it's not maple and it doesn't look like
it's maple. It's a roasted maple neck.
Okay, roasted. Okay, because it's dark, and I was just about to ask, was it roasted? Yeah.
Yep, it's a roasted maple neck. It's got stainless steel frets in it.
Oh, those are awesome.
Yeah, the P90s are great. They're
which P90s?
What are they? Oh man, let me think, man. What are they? They're
Ballers. The Kleins. Okay. Yeah.
And man, that's certain guitars like that, man. That specific guitar has a sound to it that none others. Like he's made other P90 Telecasters, and I put it next to my other P90 Telecaster, and it sounds different than the other ones.
Yeah,
there's something going on with it. I love it, man. It's my go-to.
That's it's so cool. I mean, every time I've seen you play, I'm like, it's just so cool looking. It's cool. Nobody has that guitar. Nobody, and the cool thing about it is it's not like it's a custom. It's not like nobody has it because it's custom with wacky stuff on. It's a Telecaster. It's just a gold top, but nobody has that guitar but you. Yeah. I would wonder why Fender or somebody don't want to issue that guitar.
I think they're now issuing a 2 Telecaster that controls up here.
Really?
That's the picture to Steve the other day, and he was like,
wow. Yeah, wow.
I was like, oh man, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It sounds great. It's just like the same thing. I couldn't play your guitar. And just like you can't figure out Robin Trower's tone. I can't play your guitar sound like you, but you sound great. It's a lovely instrument, man. Really.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you do a good job with it. So, okay, you got the Telly, you got the Everly Brothers acoustic. What would be number 3?
The Harmony Stratotone H44. That's a slide guitar. I bought that years ago at a comic book store.
Is that it's that one, right?
It's kind of like that. That actually is, I believe, has is partially hollow.
Yes, it's semi-hollow. Yours is
this is a solid body. This is the one before that.
Okay.
I believe that might be an H45 or an H22.
Okay, I was wondering what the number of that was. I couldn't figure that out. Okay.
Mine's an H44.
Very cool.
Mine's the one that
what color is that?
T-Bone Burnett uses it a lot, and it's a copper color.
Okay. I got to look into that. Man, best guitar and best amp you've ever owned or played.
Oh man, I have a 63 Strat that's pretty awesome.
Talk about that.
It was my graduation present from my mom.
That's cool.
It's black. I don't play Strats much anymore. I just got Stratted out, man. When I first came out and started touring a lot, Stevie Ray Vaughan everybody was playing a Strat.
Yeah.
And so I started playing a Les Paul after that. And I love playing. Les Pauls are probably one of my favorite guitars. That's why my Tele controls like a Les Paul.
Yeah.
I just recognize the durability of a Telecaster.
Yeah, totally.
So that, and so the old Strat, and man, like I've got a 68 Super Reverb.
Oh, wow.
That when it's tubed up nice and everything's firing on all cylinders, man, and tubes and stuff, man, that's pretty good.
So that's a good combo, the Strat with the 63 Strat with the 60. Yeah, that sounds great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. What is that? What is that? That looks like a Fender right behind you.
This is a Bassman.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right here.
Yeah.
Actually, TC Carr, the harmonica player on the record, actually, this is his amp. He gave it to me.
That's cool, man. Wink, wink. Tell me the last music you listened to most recently.
I listened to a Jerry Byrd record 2 days ago.
Who's that?
Jerry Byrd was the straight steel player for Hank Williams.
Okay.
And if you know the Gibson guitar, the Birdland.
Yes, he was the guy they named that after.
Well, everybody thinks that it was Charlie Parker because of the bird, right?
Right.
But it was not. There were two guys that the Birdland was named after. One was Jerry Byrd, and one was Hank Garland.
Right, right. Interesting. My buddy's a big Hank Garland fan.
I love Hank Garland.
Yeah. You have a worst gig ever story, Damon? You gotta have, because you've played it. You've played everywhere, man. You gotta have a.
They're all good. They're all good.
Bullshit. I call bullshit on that.
I mean, in the early days of touring, there were some real rough ones. We would show up. Man, one time, the agent booked this, and this was a club out somewhere in Texas, man, and the tour had already gone bad. Like we'd already had a couple of gigs where nothing,
like you're the only people in the bar.
We're the only people there.
Yeah,
I've not getting paid. We're the only people there. We drove 10 hours to play to an empty room.
If there's any comfort to you, I've had other guys tell me the same story. That
everybody does. Yeah, everybody's done it.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of these, and then we get to this one spot where we're like, this, at least we know this one's going to be okay. We're playing a co-bill with this other band.
Right.
And and the guy that owned the club was like, this band's got a great local following. You guys open for them and you make some fans here.
Right.
It's really awesome. So we get there and the local band is like, hey, we saw y'all's Facebook or whatever. It wasn't Facebook. We saw your MySpace and your videos and stuff. And man, we want to go on first. Let us go on first. And y'all play the late night crowd.
Why? They were.
You got church in the morning and stuff like that. And we're like, okay, all right.
That's weird.
And so when they go on and they start playing, there's one person in the crowd.
Right.
After their second song, that one person gets up and walks out.
Oh.
Right. So then we're like, dang it. Dang.
Oh.
And then the owner comes up and is like, well, you guys don't got to play. And we're like, all right, And the cool thing about it is the owner, he gave me $20 and he says, go fill up your tank and buy the boys some burgers. And I was like, what is this, 1970?
Yeah. wait a minute. And you're looking at that like 3 times, like, flipping it over.
But at that point, that was a really kind gesture of him.
Yeah, right. I get it.
So I appreciate it. But, that wasn't just one bad gig. That was a bad tour.
Bad tour really like that. Tour. Yeah. That's so funny. What is this night? I'm thinking $20. What do you get? You'd be lucky if you could fill your tank of gas up with that.
Yeah, it's like, I got a van, dude. It's like $50 to fill it up.
Oh my God. So funny. Hey man, give me your top 3 Desert Island discs in no order, just for today, just for this minute.
All right. The Big Payback, James Brown.
Great record.
Red-Headed Stranger by Willie Nelson.
Interesting.
And Ice Pickin', Albert Collins.
Man, it's funny. I was listening to some Gary Moore lately, and he had Collins on a couple of his records. Man, it was nice hearing him. I haven't listened to him in a while.
Oh yeah, he loved Albert Collins.
Yeah, he really did, and Albert King. Tell me the best decision you ever made, man.
The best decision I ever made?
Yes, sir.
Man, getting married.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've mentioned that several times. You need to make sure you play this interview for your wife when it comes out.
Oh no, she knows, man. I mean, she's a patient lady. There's a whole line of bullshit with me too. She has to be very patient, but it really has given me a calmness and made me happy, and my life's got way better.
Right on. I hope that stays with you forever, man.
Me too.
Tell me one thing that you're proudest or most grateful for doing or not doing, both in your professional life and in your personal life.
My professional life, I'm very proud. Man, I'm just proud to have a record out. We debuted Alafia Moon debuted at #1 on Billboard Blues charts.
Did it really? Man, I didn't know that. That's freaking awesome. Congratulations.
So I'm really proud of that.
That's awesome, man.
And what I'm really proud of in my personal life is my family.
Good for you, man.
And what am I most ashamed of? Was that a question?
No, but if you want to say that, it's up to you.
The way I acted last Thursday after all the tequila was pretty bad. But, not really. No,
don't worry. You're young. You're gonna have some more days. We'll blow that one away.
Oh yeah. Once a week, man.
All right. This is a tough one. What do you like most about yourself?
What I like most about myself?
How I acted last Thursday after I.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that these days I'm not in a hurry.
Man, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's going to be your quote for your interview. These days I'm not in a hurry. Can you talk more about that? Because that's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I run into young musicians all the time, and they're like, I'm going to put out a record. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And, and I was totally like that too. And none of that ever happened. The universe deals you what you're supposed to be getting.
Yeah.
And you have to listen to it, And so for me, anymore, I've just learned to pace myself and to just say, hey man, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen,
Yeah.
Be it whatever, a gig or a loan or whatever. You know what I mean? It's it.
Totally get it. It's a lot less stressful when you do that too, man. Even if you don't get what you want, it's just a lot less stressful.
Right.
Yeah. I like that.
Don't put so much emphasis on it, just all right.
Yeah, don't be attached to outcomes.
Yeah, just keep moving.
Best childhood memory.
Oh, I got a lot of good ones. Just those Sunday barbecues with my family, my grandma, my grandparents were alive. My cousins were there. We're swimming and playing music and eating food and drinking Dr. Pepper out of the cooler. It's ice cold. Yeah.
Oh, dude, let me ask you a question. Where do you go for barbecue? Because I'm a big barbecue guy.
Depends on what you're looking for.
Not
I like
dry ribs.
Dry ribs. I like, and it's not traditional, but I really like Kojak's barbecue.
Yeah, there's one in like near McDill. I went there once.
Yeah,
it was not bad. Yeah, Gandy.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
That, you know, I've had some really good barbecue from there. There's let's see.
There's this place in Brandon I went to once or twice. When they opened, they were good, and after a couple of times,
there's a spot in Brandon in the same plaza as, like, I think there's like an Office Depot now, and there's a Home Depot and stuff like that, but it's called First Choice.
Okay.
It's been there a long time. It's a little skinny place, man, a little skinny room, but man, they do good barbecue there.
All right, because I love barbecue, man. All right, thank you. Happiest time in your life or happiest moment in your life?
I've had some happy times a lot lately. Just with the kids, man. Like I was telling you, I got 3 kids. I've got a 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 10-month-old. And man, sometimes that can be super happy times, you know.
Yes. I hear you.
They're a lot of work, and it's not all super happy, but
no, it's busy.
It's busy work, but man, sometimes it all fires on all cylinders and everything comes together, and it's like, wow, man, what a beautiful moment, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. It's good that you realize that. Hey, do you have any hobbies or interests outside of music?
Man, not since I had kids.
I feel you.
But yeah, I like fishing. I grew up fishing, man. So.
Oh, I'm sure. What do you usually fish for?
Snook.
Yeah.
Redfish or snook. I don't know. I like pompano. I like to eat pompano. You know.
I haven't eaten pompano.
I like eating pompano.
I love fishing though. It's so relaxing, man. It's so relaxing. Smoke a cigar and just like, you know, it's a very relaxing thing to do. Couple more questions, man. Toughest decision you've ever had to make or most difficult thing you've had to do?
The toughest decision I've ever had to make or most difficult thing I've ever had to do. I don't know, man. Just dealing with my mom's stuff.
Yeah.
After she passed away. You know, that was tough.
When was that? When did she pass?
6 years ago.
Really sorry.
Yeah. It happens. You know, I'm okay. That was it. You know, toughest decisions. Sometimes you got to make decisions for business. You know, got to cut out sometimes like you hang out with people and you really love them, but you know they're really bad for you.
Yeah, for your business, for sure, man.
And just for you, for everything, your personal happiness and your business and your family and all these things. So you know, you got to make the right decision sometimes, cut those people out or whatever.
Yeah, totally, you know? Man. I get that. 2 more questions, man. Most important lesson life has taught you?
Don't be in a hurry.
Yeah, man. Don't be in a hurry. I like that. That's a good, that's your theme. That sounds like your next album, dude.
It might be.
Yeah. Don't be in a hurry. I like that.
Better hurry up and get it out though.
Hurry up and get it out. Yeah. And last question, biggest change in your personality over the last 10 years and how much of that has been intentional and how much of that has been a natural part of aging?
I think I've relaxed a lot more, and I've always wanted to relax, but I think just getting older and maturing and you know, what's important to me now was not what was important to me 10 years ago.
Yeah. I hear you, man. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. It was really nice talking to you. It's really cool when I get to talk to somebody that's thanks for all the great music you made. Somebody that I've actually listened to and has like moved me it's one thing to listen to the record, but I've seen you so many times perform. So I'm glad I got to connect with you. The downside of that is
thanks for having me, man.
Oh, my pleasure. The downside to that is I will be calling you next time I'm here around and I want to come see the show. I'll be calling you for tickets.
Yeah, hit me, man. Anytime you want, man.
I will. Thank you. Let me tell people where to find you. Okay. Damon Fowler, DamonFowler.com. Also, the new record. I'd love everybody to check it out. It's called, it looks like Alafia, but it's pronounced Alafia or Alafia.
Alafia.
Yeah, I thought so. Alafia Moon is his new record, 11 tracks. Great record. It was debuted at #1 on the Billboard Blues charts. And Damon was actually, he's also got, okay, let me slow down. He's also got 2 True Fire courses. Why don't you talk about those courses? Maybe people be interested in them.
Man, dude, True Fire is awesome. Their studio is amazing.
Yeah,
it's a great platform.
Yeah.
They've been super kind to me. My first lesson plan was basically, it's called Blues Jam Survivor. And it would, there's a lot of licks on there. There's some blues licks and how to play shuffles and rhythms and like as a scenario, what to play. Like if there's 3 guitar players on stage, like don't play very much. Just find like small parts and stuff.
Yeah.
And also just kind of how to just kind of get along with people and your sandbox skills and stuff like that for that. And also the second True Fire video is on slide guitar. I play a lot of slide guitar.
And this guy is an awesome slide guitar. I mean, no bullshit. He is a really good slide guitar. He's very tasty. He doesn't overplay, man. His tone is just incredible to die for. So check out those videos on True Fire. Also, Damon was nominated for content creator. So why don't you talk about that story? Because it's kind of good.
Yeah, it's crazy. Man, during the pandemic, I started doing live streams. And so I had Fowler's Garage, and I would go live every Saturday at 4:20. And I would
4:20.
Yeah.
My kids were probably watching that just because of the time.
And
hilarious.
So I started doing that, and I'd play about an hour. And man, I have to say, I really feel like doing that helped me build more fans.
That's great.
Think that during the lockdown and COVID and all this stuff, people staying home, a lot of blues fans and music fans, there's a lot of older people in that. And I think that technology sometimes overwhelms people like it does me. So I think this is something that really introduced an older generation and like the blues crowd to watching live streams more. Cool. And I think they enjoy it. I think they're like, oh, it's not so bad. And I can stay home and, it's better. And so I feel that Fowler's Garage really helped us develop more of a fan base.
Awesome.
From there, I started doing gig stories, and that's where I basically do like a 5-minute interview with an old friend from the road, and I have them tell me stories. Bob Margolin came on. He told some stories about Muddy Waters.
I had him on the show. He was a lovely guy, very sweet guy.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's like the mayor.
Yeah.
Albert Castilia has the funniest story. JP Soars has got some stories on there. So we did a bunch of stories, and I even did 3 episodes of Fowler's Kitchen where I cook.
You cook? What do you cook, bro?
Well, I did my first one was fried fish, how to Southern style fried batter.
I was going to say old school cracker cooking, man. Yeah, that's right on.
My second one was the Cuban sandwich.
Right. Very cool.
And what a real Cuban sandwich is, because traveling, like growing up in Tampa, I got really spoiled. I didn't know that like not everywhere had Cuban sandwiches. I thought that's just what everybody ate.
Right. You thought
so I started touring. I go into a gas station, be like, "Where's the Cuban sandwiches at, man? What?" and then you go to like nice restaurants in other towns and you order the Cuban sandwich, and you're like, "What is this? This is not a Cuban sandwich. Like, what is this?"
That's cool.
So one of my episodes on Cuban sandwiches.
That's very cool. And what was the third one?
The third one was just like a pulled pork.
Yeah, that's very Southern, man. Yeah.
Easy,
Hey, what's the status of Skippers? Because they closed, and then I saw something that they opened. Are they alive or?
I think they're working on it.
Good.
I hope they're working on it.
Good.
Skippers is been a big part of my life. You know, I
Yeah,
grew
I'm
up
sure.
there, and Tom at Skipper's has helped me so many times, you know, so
Yeah.
I really hope to see them if that's what they want to do, to get back open and get back into business. And, you know, it's a lot of
Man.
work. You know?
Oh, it's a ton of work, man. It's a great place. It's such a cool place to hang out.
Yeah.
And also, I would love everybody to follow or like Damon's page on Facebook. It's Damon Fowler Band. And once he starts doing, or next time he does a Fowler's Garage or Fowler's Kitchen, he'll post that on there, and you definitely won't see me on that kitchen thing because I can't cook at all. And also on YouTube, subscribe to Damon's YouTube channel. It's Damon Fowler Music. He posts up stuff on there. And again, check out his True Fire videos and Alafia Moon, the new album. Check it out. Anything else you want to put out there?
No, man, I think this was great. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. I thank you very much for coming on the show, and I will definitely see you in person next time you're around here. Everybody, and good luck with the kids and everything like that, man.
Thanks.
I'm happy that you're having so much fun. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels. We appreciate your support. Thanks very much to Damon Fowler for coming on the show. Please check him out online, damonfowler.com. Check out his True Fire videos, Fowler's Garage, Facebook, Damon Fowler Band, and YouTube, Damon Fowler Music. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice, so choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I am out. Thank you so much, brother, for everything.